What's up? It's 107 here, and I want to thank you guys for 200 subscribers. Now, I want to talk about something that nobody else seems to be, and that's why Halo is a dead game. Now, first off, I know Halo will never die. It's got one of the most faithful fandoms ever, even though many of us are Bungie stans that are convinced modern-day Bungie is better than Halo, even though it clearly isn't, and are driving themselves into the ground. But I digress. I kind of discovered in my research that it's a fairly simple reason why Halo Infinite is referred to as a dead game by many gamers, and that not just lies in the dumb mishandlings of the franchise before and during, and even currently of Halo Infinite's release, but also just the way Halo Infinite is oriented and palated towards the player. And it's even a bigger issue, and it's not even just Halo Infinite, but it is gaming as a whole, and it might solve the issue of why gaming is no longer fun. So, to begin, I want to highlight some of the mishandlings of the franchise by 343 Industries. I don't think it's right if I don't mention these things. Halo 4, 343 Industries wanted to make their own game their way, and their way was not authentic. They changed the graphics, everything was changed. Well, graphics is good, but the art style wasn't, and a lot of different things that didn't need to be changed, the audio sounds, and even like the minute details, things were just off, people didn't like it, and there was fair reception from the fans where they said, no, we don't like this, push it back. But, they wanted to do it their way. And the multiplayer for Halo 4 was supposed to be more modern, but it literally was just Call of Duty. Let's be real, there was no fair starts, it was just Call of Duty. And then when they released Halo 5, it released unfinished with an unfinished multiplayer, and the campaign was very shitty. In fact, the shitty campaign out-shittied the unfinished multiplayer. And they doubled down on every change from Halo 4 when they came to Halo 5. They said, we heard your concerns and the things you didn't like, so here you go, have Halo 5, a game that you're not going to like even more. And the good change, the good thing about Halo 4 was the campaign was a wonderful story. They said, fuck that story, here's Cortana back, except for she's now the bad guy. And it was a horrible, horrible decision. And I can't believe it was approved. I genuinely can't believe it was approved. And that was definitely a fumble. And there has to be more reasons behind it. And I will tell you some more reasons behind why it was such a fumble and why it was so bad. But there was also a lot more other things from Halo 4 that were the best things from Halo 4 that got retconned and changed and removed. And it was just a big fuck you towards the Halo fans, I think. And when Halo Infinite released, it also released unfinished. The campaign was, and I still believe this to my day, I think it is a top 5 contender for best campaigns in the Halo franchise, but the campaign was so small. It was like half the size of Halo 3 ODST, which Halo 3 ODST has always been the quickest and fastest one to finish. It's about 6 hours to play through. You could finish Halo Infinite in 3 to 4 hours if you just do the main missions. You could stretch that to 12 or maybe even 16 hours if you go and do all the extra side stuff and events and stuff and explore. But if you just want to play the story, it's so small. It's just so bad. For an open world, it is honestly laughable. I did enjoy it. I did think a lot of it was enjoyable, but it wasn't where it should have been. And the multiplayer was also released as unfinished as it could possibly be. In fact, when it first released in November, because there was that grace period between November and the actual date the campaign was releasing, I thought that November to December was basically a beta, and once the game fully released in December, the rest of the multiplayer came. That's how bad the multiplayer is. When it released, it was basically trolling people into thinking it was a beta because of how small and how bad it was. And I can't get over that. Next, I also want to talk about Microsoft's mishandlings of the franchise. It's much of a smaller list, but it's much bigger things that have more influence on the things that 343 Industries did that really were bad mishandlings as well. Now, 343 Industries wasn't going to be planned to be the part of Halo at all. In fact, Microsoft wanted Halo to be finished at Halo 3. They thought it was the perfect ending, and so they didn't really care anymore. And so, as per the contract that Bungie had, they had to finish Halo 3 ODST and Halo Reach, and they were free to do their own thing with Destiny. But Microsoft didn't really care about Halo anymore. But Bonnie Ross, and this is a rare Bonnie Ross W, she had vouched and said that, no, we can make this work and we can still make good games. So Microsoft listened, and as per Microsoft L's, they gave them free reign to just have fun. And it was horrible. Then there's also woke politics. It's not so much in the older games, but you see it more in Halo Infinite. And I mean, for me, I don't care much, but I know a lot of people they do. And I mean, I don't think that any politics should be in video games. People play video games to get rid of it and to get away from politics and get away from the world. I don't think it should be chasing them into their own personal time. But also, Microsoft wanted to push more of a competitive focus to better rival their biggest rival, Call of Duty. And what that had done is Halo 4's multiplayer was more competitive, Halo 5's multiplayer was more competitive, having the tightest skill-based matchmaking in the entire Halo franchise. In fact, it's so bad that you win one game, you'll be playing with people that are way, way better than you. You lose 3 games, you're still playing with them. It's that bad. So, it's honestly atrocious. But even after that, Microsoft did one more thing. They forced 343 Industries to remake the games several times on the same deadline. And every time 343 would push the deadline, eventually Microsoft would change the game again before the next deadline, and then they'd keep that deadline. And it was just a circle of just basically, honestly, workplace abuse. Halo 5 had an original plan already written out and designed, and that's what the trailers were on. Microsoft didn't like it anymore, and they wanted a new one. And that's what we got. And they approved it. And it was horrible. And Halo Infinite is the same way, actually. They had plans for it, they were working on it, and they changed it. And then on top of that, they hired contractors at 343 Industries for 8-month intervals, and then they changed the game again, and then they changed the game again. Morale is so low at the office just because Microsoft is such a big asshole. And so, spoiler alert, the games didn't release finished. Both Halo 5 and Halo Infinite. But now, onto my main point of argumentation. The way Halo Infinite is oriented and paleted towards the player is very wrong and is causing players to avoid or not have fun playing it. Very commonly avoiding because they're not having fun playing it. And that is because of the competitive focus. And the competitive focus in gaming is extremely prominent. And although it works for games like Valorant, CSGO, arguably Rainbow Six Siege, it just doesn't work with every game. A major issue with having a competitive focus is that it's only really enjoyable for people in college or younger who have so much more time on their hands where they can put in that effort to be good at the game and aren't really stressed about really much anything. I mean, college students are stressed, but not as much as some other people are. But for everyone else, they work a 9-to-5 job, they've probably got kids, they just want to relax and have fun. They don't want to play competitive, they want to shut their brains off and relax. There is scientific studies behind it after where people get home from work and like their brains are so drained, they genuinely just want to enjoy and consume brain rot content and fun content. And so nobody wants to work a 9-to-5 where they're tired and they just hate their lives and go home and want to hate their lives for another 6 hours. It just straight up, nobody wants to do that. And if you're too young to understand that, that's okay. But once you kind of get to an age where you're working those hours, you kind of get to understand. And it's almost like 343 Industries did forget that most of their fans are adults that are well into their 20s and 30s. And I mean, like, they forgot. Like, they're orienting the game towards teens. They're trying to get the audience that they're going for is that competitive kids audience. But the audience that they have are just adults. And they shouldn't be doing that. They should be more orienting the game towards fun and just adults. But they don't, because of course they don't. Corporate doesn't know shit. But if you take Helldivers 2, for example, a great game that did everything right and then everything wrong. And when it released, it touched the shooting genre's favorite fantasy, the power fantasy. Now, many people ignorantly believe that the male fantasy is digital women in tight medical suits, metal bikinis, like very low amounts of clothing and just highly sexualized, but that is truly not the case. The peak male fantasy is to be a soldier, to kill anything non-human, and save the world. That is what made Doom so enjoyable in the 90s. You're just a random guy, the Doom Slayer, just killing demons. That is it. Onslaught of demons, you're just killing demons, and everyone loved it. Halo in the 2000s, you are the Master Chief. You are going through hordes of aliens, just killing, and you're saving the world. Call of Duty Zombies, you are just a random group of guys just trying to survive in the zombie apocalypse. But now, all of a sudden, it's getting a story, and now all of a sudden, you are trying to save the universe from zombies. And it still received very well until they stopped going for that male fantasy of being a soldier, killing anything non-human, and saving the world. Now, Helldivers 2 is a perfect example of something that did that at the very start. You are a Helldiver, a soldier. Your job is to go in and kill the cyber guys and the Tyranids. I forgot the cyber guys' names because I haven't played the game in months. But that is your job. You're just supposed to kill the automatons, that's the name, and the Tyranids. That is their goal. And it's just to save Super Earth and save democracy. And it's such a just awesome thing that's just so basic. It is literally just Halo Firefight. That is their entire game. Halo Firefight. And yet it's perfect. It is perfect. And they fucked it up anyways. And they've started nerfing things. They've making it so more all the fun weapons, the overpowered weapons that were just honestly really enjoyable to use, are now nerfed. And now they're underpowered. And the game is more skill focused and less fun focused. And since that, they've lost so many players that have now jumped to Space Marine 2, which does the exact same thing as all these other games. It is to be a soldier, kill anything non-human, and save the world. That is literally it. And that's why people like Warhammer 40k, and that's why people like Ultramarines, is because it's a vast universe. You could do that. You could do that sort of stuff. Now, I do believe the multiplayer is more skill focused, but the story mode and the multiplayer do encourage that power fantasy that I did mention before. But this isn't some phenomenon that is just focused in our minds that we're seeing. Even Jinxie, popular streamer Jinxie that likes to clip his streams and has a very hot girlfriend, said the same thing about Rainbow Six Siege. And he said, and I quote, "Siege's biggest downfall is when they started modeling the game after Pro League. Now, if you don't play Siege, Pro League is basically just eSports." Now, even when you're playing Siege, if you probably don't play Siege, you guys probably play Halo, Siege's thing is, even the most ranked game mode, the actual ranked sweaty game mode, it is basically, you go to quick play, it's a quick play, but everybody's sweating and everybody's trying hard just like that. I played a standard match with a couple of my friends, and I've never had an enemy team in ranked ever play full shields, ever play not even full shields of like a full squad of shields, but they played the worst ops. They played ops that would work well together. They played ops that would perform the best against our ops. Like, they were trying really hard. And I don't understand how people have fun like that. But doesn't that sound familiar, what Jinxie said? Siege's biggest downfall is when they started modeling the game after Pro League. Halo 5 and Infinite were both designed around the Halo eSports scenes. So much so that Halo 5 pretty much made the eSports scene for Halo a lot larger than it already was, but the Infinite multiplayer was designed alongside teams to better encourage that ranked experience and that competitive experience. Now, although most Halo gamers and many others agree with my testament to bring back fun into gaming, The developers only seem to listen to the comp tards that will in fact call the game ass because they suck at it. They are the one reason why these games are getting called dead games, and people are saying that these games suck, is because the only people that are playing it constantly are the people that really enjoy competitive games, and then they are also the same people that are going to go and say, oh yeah, the game sucks, I hate it, because they suck at it. And it's just, nobody was going to play because nobody wants to play competitive, but the people that are playing competitive are the ones that say the game sucks. So then you get a situation like Halo Infinite, where nobody's playing the game because either they think the game sucks, or they just don't like playing the game because it's just not fun. And that's just as simple as that. Now, I posted this take on TikTok, and it was my first well-received video since I returned from my long hiatus, and the community there agrees with me. Some people even mentioned that upon release of Halo Infinite, it was just campaign and arena, not campaign and multiplayer, and now the focus has been put to fixing the game. There's now actually more PvE and fun game modes such as Infection and Firefight. And yet, even still, gamers yearn for Griffball and Warzone to return, just without the rec packs. And just to think, people wonder why indie games are more popular than AAA games. I mean, seriously, AAA games are so focused on competitiveness that when they release, there's no multiplayer. It's just an arena game mode. And nobody wants to be sweating, nobody wants to be playing competitive. So when people play AAA games, it's not competitive, it's just fun with friends, it's just fun. And that's what people want. And that's what people yearn for with Halo, with Griffball and Warzone. That's why people wanted Firefight to return. That's why people wanted Infection, because people wanted fun game modes. They don't want sweaty, try-hard, competitive game modes. They want fun game modes. Now, developers, y'all need to return to your roots. Make some of the games you make fun again. Drop the competitive angle and lean into more of that dumb fun game modes like Griffball and Invasion and other custom games like Fat Kid or Speed Halo. And maybe lean into more PvE game modes like Firefight and Warzone. I mean, Helldivers 2 was straight up just Halo Firefight. And, I mean, look at it. It's great. It is one of the best games this year, I think. And I promise you, there will not only be more player retention in these games, but more players in general. And on top of that, when there's more player retention and more players in general, people enjoying the game, not only, because social media is a wonderful thing, by the way, not only does the game trend well, better on social media, but more people will play it because it's trending well and people are having fun with it. That is the entire reason why Helldivers 2 did so good, because it did everything right. It was just a dumb fun game and it went viral because it was straight up just dumb fun. If these AAA games and AAA studios actually focused on doing stuff like dumb fun, the games would actually be good. Now, to close up my video, I want to thank you all again for sticking around and subscribing. It genuinely means a lot to me. I'm honestly surprised that I got past 100 subscribers, so if I can hit 500 or 1,000, I think I'd have a heart attack. So, if you have time, please check out the link in my description as well. It's my TikTok page. I usually post every once in a while and very often. I mean, I try to post more often there, and the popular videos that get done really well in the TikTok algorithm, like this one here, gets turned into a proper video and formatted, and clips from the videos and from gaming sessions with the boys gets put onto there on TikTok. So please do check that out. Please do subscribe. Love you all. See you all later. Also, by the way, I'm kind of curious, what does YouTube think about this? That is genuinely my question. What does YouTube think about having fun in these games? TikTok thinks it's a great idea. They want more fun, less competitive. But what do you guys think? All right, bye.